So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Miss Debbie Chenoweth for today's Scam and Fraud Awareness. She joins us from the Baltimore County Police Department, and I'll turn it to her so she can give you a better introduction.
Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing today? Okay,
Doing fine.
good. So we're going to talk about some scams and frauds that are usually perpetrated against the elderly, but we've had many younger victims also. But in the beginning, I just want you to remember this number, 12.5 billion. That's billion with a B. So that's how much money was lost in 2024 from these scams. And 2025's numbers haven't rolled in yet, but I'm sure they're going to be much higher than that. So I'm going to tell you that the two most dangerous things in your house are your computer and your telephone. And you're going to say, well, that's silly because they don't do anything, right? No, you answer them, you get on them, you look at them, you answer people. So when you do, the majority of our scammers are going to contact you in one of those two ways, either by your phone or by your computer. When they call on the phone, usually one of the first things that I've noticed they've been asking is, can you hear me? And normally, most people, if they hear that, they're going to say, yes. I want you to forget that word. Don't ever use that word on the telephone with somebody that you don't know who it is, because they will record that yes. And at some later date, they could use it for other means to scam other people or whatever. But just by you saying yes, we've seen and heard from people that they've been compromised in some way because of that word being said. So if somebody says to you, how are you today? I usually reply, not so good. And what are you calling for? So you can say that. You can be nasty to these people on the phone because they're not nice people. So, and you know when it's a scammer as opposed to one of your family members. So we're going to talk about some of the scams that you get on the phone, and you're going to get the imposter scams, and they're the ones where they call up and say, hi, granddad, or hi, grandmom, this is your grandson. I'm calling because I'm in trouble and I need your help. The first thing everybody thinks of is, oh my God, my grandson, my granddaughter, whoever it is in trouble. And everything goes right out of your head and goes to your heart. So you have to stop doing that, because number one, if somebody really is in trouble like that, I'm sure you wouldn't be the first phone call. And a lot of times they'll say, you got to promise you won't call mom and dad and tell them. Well, that's a silly thing too, because what can you do? You're not their guardian. You're not the person that would be responsible for anything for them. It's their parents. Their parents have to know. So when they say, you know, my husband, when he gets those phone calls, he'll say, my grandson, well, I have 28 grandchildren. Which one are you? And they usually say, your favorite one. And he'll say, oh, Scotty, is that you? And he'll say, oh, yeah, it's Scotty. Well, what did my husband just do? He gave the bad guy a name, gave him the name of one of our grandchildren. So I told him, I said, you can't say that anymore. So the other day I heard him say, Scotty, is that you? And the guy said, yeah. And he goes, oh my God, you just died 2 weeks ago. Did you just rise from the dead? And immediately the person hung up on him. So I like to play with them on the phone. My husband likes to play with them on the phone, because as long as we've got them occupied on the phone, they're not calling somebody else that might believe their stories. But you need to hang up on them right away. Don't even engage with them. Don't talk to them. Say you'll have to call his parents, have to call her parents, you have to call somebody that has the responsibility for that child. It's not mine. And chances are you're never going to get the call that's truthful, that it's one of your children or grandchildren that they're calling about. But you just have to be leery, because that's a big one. The other one is when they call and say that they're from the IRS, some government office, They call and say they're from different agencies, your bank, your credit card company. Those places do not call you. For the most part, they will send you a letter in the mail and ask you to call them. And if it's really something that you think could possibly be true, and they say, we're calling from, say, Bank of America, and you have a Bank of America account, just politely say, thank you for calling. I will call my branch and I will go in and talk to someone to see what the problem is. But thank you for calling me, and hang up the phone. So don't engage these people any longer than you have to on the phone. Just get rid of them, because they'll go to somebody else. The other thing is when you get those phone calls, if you listen very closely, and I know I'm 74 years old, so my hearing's going a little bit too. There will be a slight beep that you will hear in between the time you pick up the phone and say hello and they start talking. When you hear that beep, hang that phone up immediately, because that is always a scammer. So don't even think about talking to them. Just hang that phone right up. So the other thing is advanced fee people, and these are the ones that call you up and tell you that you've won a lottery. And I will tell you that here in the state of Maryland, you do not have to pay anything to win a prize. If you win a prize, you win a prize. Uncle Sam will take care of any taxes or whatever. There's no fees that have to be paid. There's no anything else, certain special circumstances, money or whatever. Nothing else has to be paid. I tell the scammers when they call me about that, they'll say, oh, you won 5 million and 2 cars. I'll say, oh my God, I'm home today. Bring the cars right now. Bring them to me right now. Well, no, because you got to pay. I said, no, I don't. I live in Maryland. Look it up. Look the law up. I don't have to pay anything. Bring my car. Bring my car. They hang up on me. So you have to remember that these are bad guys. So it doesn't matter if you hurt their feelings or if you talk nasty to them. So the other thing is you got a lot of these things with the tech support. Usually they'll call and tell you that you've got a virus on your computer. And the first time I got one of them was several years ago. And I'm not real techno savvy. So they said I had a virus on my computer and they needed to look into it. So luckily my tech savvy son was home. And I said, Michael, do we have a virus on the computer? And he said, Mom, hang it up. It's a scammer. So after that, I did a little bit of research and I thought, oh, this is interesting that they do this. So they want to scare you. They want to tell you that you're going to have to give them your passwords. You're going to have to give them, it's going to cost you money, all this stuff. And I'm here to tell you, if you think you have a problem with your computer, I'm sure you either have a teenage or young adult neighbor, grandson, nephew, somebody in the family that you could call them and say, hey, could you come look at my computer? Because whoever the guy is on the phone isn't a tech expert. And for those of you who like movies, I'll tell you there's an excellent movie to watch about that particular thing. It's called The Beekeeper. If you like violence, I would suggest you not watch it, but it actually has this scam. Bad guys call up an elderly lady, tell her she's got a virus on her computer, that she's got to give them passwords. They've got to get into her bank accounts. They've got to do this, that, the other thing. She gives it all to them and they wipe her out. And she has a friend that lives on her farm who is a beekeeper, but he's also an ex-military, one of those super secret kind of people that did a whole lot of bad things in other countries at some point in time. And when he finds out what they did to her, he goes after them. And there are scenes where you see the scammers and they're in a big room. They've all got these telephones and headsets on. And there's one guy talking to the elderly lady and he's laughing. He's putting his hand over the receiver, laughing, saying, oh, she's so dumb. She doesn't know. He's going, oh, I made a mistake. You have to redo that. I have to put another number in there. I'm going to lose my job. My kids won't have any place to live. And he puts his hand over the phone. He goes, I don't even have any kids, but she doesn't know that. So when I talk to people who have been scammed with this particular scam, they say that what they have seen on this movie, The Beekeeper, is the exact language, exactly. They say the same things that they have in real life when they call one of us. So if you want to watch the movie, watch it. You can always close your eyes at the scary parts, but it's a good learning tool to see how far these people will go to get what they want to get. So that's pretty much a lot with your phone. On your computers, you have to be careful for phishing schemes and things like that, where they're trying to get your information. Or they're giving you a good deal. They want you to buy something. Anything where they give you any buzzwords like it's today and today only, it's for a limited time. I'd have to get payment right away. It will take your credit card number. Anything that they're pushing you to do in a short period of time is always bad. Because if they're legitimate, they're not going to do that. It's not necessary to scare people and let them, let them think they can only get this deal today. So you have to be careful. I don't buy anything online. Um, my husband has before, and I get mad at him when he does that because he ordered me a coffee cup one time, something about, his lovely wife, blah, blah, blah. But three more of them came in the mail or through Amazon because he kept pushing the button. So you have to be careful when you do anything online like that. I'm still a big fan of big box stores. I'd rather go into a store and give those people the money that work here in my state and, pay taxes than I would these people online. So also, the other thing that's become a big thing lately is people looking for jobs. Now, I have a granddaughter. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed sometimes. She seems to always get herself in a jam. But the other day, she called me and she said, Grandma, she said, I think I made a mistake. And I said, what's that? She said, I was looking online for a job where I could work from home. And she said, and I got contacted, after going to this one site, they contacted me and asked me for all my information, social security number, her address, phone number, date of birth, everything. And they said that they were going to be sending me packages. And once I received the packages, they would also send me mailing stamps with other people's names on them that she was supposed to reship those packages someplace else. Now, we in the police industry know that this is called a reshipping scam. And what she did was she would receive these packages in the mail, and then she would put the new stickers on them and she would send them off someplace else. Well, 8 police officers showed up at her house a couple days later after she started doing this and asked her if she had been receiving packages in the mail. And she said, yes, she had. She was working for this company and explained the whole thing. They confiscated the packages. They told her that there was a big investigation involved, the FBI and other people, because this has been going on for a while. So, of course, she gets all upset. And I said, well, at least don't accept any more of these packages. I said, if they come, that's fine. I said, just tell the mailman or Amazon or whoever brings them that you need to return them, that you're not accepting these packages anymore. So now she's all upset because this company has all her information. And when she tried to call them back because she was wondering if she was going to get paid for the 2 weeks that she did this job for them, they kind of blew her off and said, well, we're busy with other problems right now. We'll have to get back to you. And of course, nobody's going to get back to her and she's not going to get paid. So if you're looking for a job, don't go online looking for one unless it's a reputable company that and you've dealt with before. But there's plenty of places out there that are always willing to have, people come in and work for them. Even, you can go to McDonald's. I mean, you're never too old to work at a McDonald's. So just try to stay away from anything that looks like it's too good to be true, because if you think that, it probably is. So some of the red flags you're going to look for is the pressure to act quickly, to do something right away. Unusual payments. A lot of these places that they want payments for something, they want it either in gift cards, or they want it in cryptocurrency, or they want you to wire money. All of those things send up red flags to the bank. And the banks here in Maryland are required by law to report any unusual activity in elderly people's accounts. So if they see somebody suddenly that's never sent a wire transfer of money to anybody ever, and suddenly they're sending wire transfers every day, they're going to call us and say, hey, there might be a problem here. And then I'd have to come knock on your door and say, what's going on? Who are you wiring money to? As far as the cryptocurrency goes, I don't even understand that myself. I'm sure most people don't understand it, but the bad guys, they will even tell you what facilities to go to change your money into cryptocurrency and explain how to do it and everything else. And, that's kind of like I'm not even sure we're going to have cryptocurrency forever, because it's like an imaginary thing. You can't see it. It's just out there in cyberspace somewhere. So don't get involved with any cryptocurrency. Gift cards are another thing. The bad guys will say, we want Amazon gift cards. Well, the only place you can use Amazon gift cards are at an Amazon store or an Amazon type facility. You can't use them anyplace else. The same with a Macy's gift card or a music gift card. They're only available and used at certain places. So for people to say they want payment from you for something with gift cards, that's just a crazy thing. And usually we kind of realize that a lot of these things, lately it's been Sephora and Ulta. And for those of you, especially you gentlemen that may not know what they are, they're like beauty supplies places that you can go and buy all kind of makeup and stuff. And when somebody calls and wants gift cards from there and say they'll take gift cards from there as payment, this is usually younger people, because there's not even a lot of older people that go in some of those stores. So just be wary about, what you're doing and who you're doing it with. And call somebody. If you're not sure about something, call somebody. I'm sure you have somebody in the family that's a little bit techno savvy, or a neighbor or somebody. You can even come to the senior center or call the senior center. I'm sure somebody here would talk to you about things, or call the police department. I work in the state's attorney's office here in Towson, and we get calls all the time from people that have something going on and they're not sure whether it's real or if it's not real. And I have no problem talking to you or coming out and seeing what the situation is, and we'll walk our way through it. So there's another thing they'll tell you all the time is, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody that you got this good deal. Don't tell anybody, about this situation. The grandkids, don't tell my parents, don't tell. Why can't you tell people? If it's a good deal, if it's a good thing, why can't you tell people? You can tell people. So, these are the things that you have to worry about on your computers and on your telephone. So the other thing is, this time of year, and I don't know if any of you own your own home or know family members that own their own home. This time of year, we have what we call the travelers come along. They are people that want to do outside repair work for people. They want to fix your roof. They want to seal your driveway. They want to cut down that tree in the backyard that looks like it has some kind of bug infestation in it. And they're always willing to do it a little bit cheaper because they claim they have extra materials on their truck because they just finished a job down the street. These people are gypsies. They're not licensed or bonded to do any of the work that they do. A legitimate company just doesn't go around trying to solicit work, because most legitimate companies have enough of their own work to do. So if somebody comes up and solicits work from you, I tell them all the time, just had my roof put on. I don't care about my driveway being sealed. My husband cuts down my trees. Don't need you, but thanks anyway. So don't let anybody pressure you into doing something that you don't want to do, or something you're not sure is the right thing to be done. until you talk to somebody, talk to a family member, talk to the police, talk to neighbors, and make sure your neighbors know that these people come around this time of year. They come in the spring and the fall here in Maryland, and they usually drive big trucks. A lot of them are from Irish descent. It'll say like O'Malley and Sons on the side of the truck, or Cochran and Sons, or um, McManus and Sons. And a lot of times they'll have half of their family with them. Their wives will come with them, younger children will come with them, and they drive around here when they leave Maryland after probably November. They'll leave the state because it gets too cold here. They start going south. So they'll go down to the Carolinas, down to Virginia, down to Georgia, down to Florida, and they all live in the Carolinas. So they won't be back until the spring. They come back when the weather is starting to get warm again. But just be careful, because you don't want to be dealing with those kind of people. Anybody that you deal with that is, if you need any kind of repairs done, make sure you ask somebody who they've used in the past, somebody that's licensed and bonded. So that way, if something goes wrong, you have a reasonable expectation of like getting your money back or having the job done correctly. But don't go with these people that just come in off the road and offer to do work for you. So we have all kinds of scams that are being done out there to people every day. They change. We get different calls from different people saying, they tweak things a little bit. So it's hard for us even to keep up with the scams that are out there. But when you're on your computer also, and it doesn't only have to be your computer, but on your computer, those of you who are looking for love in all the wrong places, don't get involved with a sweetheart swindler, because that's the other big thing that we see all the time. It's not just women that get caught up in it, it's men also. And I know that there's a lot of individuals that live alone and they want companionship, or they want somebody, to talk to, and somebody to, listen to them. And sometimes they will meet someone online. I will tell you that recently in Canada, the Canadian authorities, along with the FBI here and some other countries, have locked up numerous people that have been involved in these sweetheart swindles, and they've made a lot of money. One guy's been in jail once before for this, and he just got caught again, and he has made millions of dollars scamming elderly people, and not only elderly, but middle-aged people, people that are homebound, people that just want to be with somebody, talk to somebody. And these guys aren't real. They tell you lies. I went to a lady one time who supposedly had found the love of her life. She was, sending him money. And I started to say, why is he sending you money? And then I stopped and I said, let me tell you a little bit about your friend here. And she said, what's that? I said, right now he's out of the country. He's either working on an oil rig.
This is definitely one of the legends, daughters, that we're.
Go ahead.
I said they're either working on an oil rig somewhere out in the Asian Ocean or whatever it is, or they're military and they're stuck in a foreign country. They are widowed. They have a daughter usually. The daughter's here in the States, but she's living with a couple that's a friend of theirs or in a boarding school. And he can't wait to get out of the military or whatever situation he's in and come home and be able to talk to you. The women, their thing is they are abused. They were abused by a terrible husband, but their father is a very rich man, but he can't have access to his money at this time because there's some political thing going on in the country that she lives in. So if you would just send her money, she'll make sure you get it back in triplicate, but you have to wire the money to another country. And this is what they tell you. And you, after a while, they've groomed you so well that you believe what they're saying. And when I told this story to this woman, I told her about the guy on the oil rig, the kid in the boarding school, she goes, "How did you know all that?" I said, "Because the last 5 ladies I've talked to just told me the same story." I said, "This is a script that they use, and they don't make this up on their own. It's actually a script. And they say the same thing over and over, and you may not be the only person they're talking to and giving this script to. They could have 10 other women or 10 other men on the line that they're doing this with also. So they're making a lot of money. I had one lady that without telling anybody in her family, she went and sold her house because this gentleman told her that he needed money. He was in the military. He needed money to come home. And she needed to send him money. So, and they could be together and they would live in Florida. So she sold her house. She sent him money, and I said to her, I said, "Well, you must not come from a military family." I said, "Because the military moves their own people." I said, "Nobody that's in the military, unless they're going AWOL, needs somebody else to pay for their bus fare, their plane fare, their ticket out of wherever they are." I said, "Because at that point, they'd be AWOL and they'd go to jail anyway." So I said, you have to be very careful with these people that you think are the loves of your lives, that it's somebody that you trust. You've never met them. You don't know that anything that they're telling you is true, but there is an awful lot of people that get sucked into that situation until they've lost a lot of money because they always ask for money. They seem to have these wonderful jobs, but they make up stories about how they're not getting paid. There's a problem with the payroll company and this, that, and the other thing. And it's all bogus. So don't believe what somebody tells you that you've never met, you've never seen, and it's only on a computer screen or an iPad or whatever that you're ever been talking to this person. And that it's a terrible thing to have happen to somebody. The lady that sold her house, she was supposed to be waiting for him to come back to the States so they could move to Florida. And all he kept doing was asking her for more and more money. And I finally had to get her daughters to come get her because she was staying in a hotel room. And they weren't even aware that any of this was happening. So make sure that people in your family know what's going on if you get involved in something. Don't be ashamed because it happens to everybody. Doesn't matter your age, your race, your sex, or whatever. Everybody is getting scammed because these people are very good at what they do. It's their job. It's their job to scam you and take advantage of you and, get your money away from you. That's what they want to do. So, that's the other thing we have to worry about. How much time do we have?
We have as much, we have usually about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Are you going to take some questions?
Oh, yeah, if they have questions, we'll take questions.
So go ahead and let them know.
Does anybody have any questions? You told them to mute, right?
Yeah.
If you want to unmute your computers and ask any questions, that would be fine.
Hello, this is Ralph Borkman. I don't know if you can hear me or not.
Yes, I can.
Okay. The scam I've seen and heard a lot lately is the people calling from your local utility saying you're past due, they're going to cut off your power, et cetera, et cetera. I don't answer the phone, but they leave a message on my answering machine a lot. And I know I'm getting that many times.
Right. And that's another one that that's the ones that I said that they'll threaten you with something or, something has to be done right away. You have to pay your bill right away because you're going to get turned off.
Right.
Nobody does that. They send you something in the mail. BGE, telephone company, before they would ever do anything as far as calling you, they would send you a letter in the mail saying, "This is a turn off notice. Please contact our office as soon as possible," and they'll have a number there for you to call. But that is another type of scam that they do. Yes. So don't fall for anything when they need you to do something quickly. And the other thing I want to tell you is that Publishers Clearinghouse is out of business. It used to be that was one of the biggest scams. You've won Publishers Clearinghouse, Publishers Clearinghouse is not only out of business, but they're being sued from all the people that legitimately won and aren't getting any more money because it was supposed to be money for life. So, but yeah, so you have to be careful. Just, know who you're talking to. If they can't give you a legitimate information or reason that they're calling, don't talk to them. Do you have another question?
How about scams with AI? And you might need to repeat the question
Oh,
because they can't hear me.
oh, okay. So there's a lot going on also with artificial intelligence. And I mean, I've known a lot of people in my life with artificial intelligence. They think they're smart, but they really aren't. But nowadays, you cannot trust anything that you see or hear unless you're the one doing it, because there is so much out there. Can you all hear me? Okay. There's so much out there that is being done. I see it on Facebook all the time. On Facebook, they've got pictures of people, they've got stories about people, and it's all bogus. It's all artificial intelligence. They can make anything look like anything they want. So you have to be careful of that also. I can't think of any specific examples. Can you, with AI?
Artificial intelligence.
Yeah. Is my partner,
Right.
Ron Allen.
Hello, everyone. I'm rolling in here. I think most of the artificial intelligence stuff is probably going to be the email phishing scams. And those you really have to be very careful about. The one that I saw most frequently when I was doing fraud and forgery work in the past was people would get notices from, say, one of the internet security companies like Norton, saying that their subscription's about to be automatically renewed for $500. The folks would call saying, I don't, they would call the number that's on the email saying, I don't have a subscription with Norton. And they would end up getting talked into allowing the person to have access to their computer. The scammer would remote into their computer to supposedly take Norton off of their computer, but really what they were doing was accessing all of their bank accounts. And once you allow someone to remote into your computer, they have complete control of it to the point where you can't even turn your computer off with the power button. What I used to tell folks is if this happens to you, where you realize that you have allowed a scammer to remote into your computer, the only thing you can really do is unplug it from the wall. You have to cut the power off, because that's the only way to stop them from having control of it. And then once you've unplugged your device, you really have to have somebody come in and go through any electronic device that is connected to your computer via the Wi-Fi, because once they're in your home system, they not only have access to the computer that you were on, to any tablets, any cell phones, anything like that. So all of those need to be taken to a computer store and have any bad viruses taken out. So because with the advent of AI now, it's so much easier for these scammers to send these much more convincing letters out. Because it used to be when you get these letters, these emails from scammers, the language was usually off. You could see misspellings, grammatical errors, and it was pretty easy to spot. But now that everybody's using AI to write their emails, you're not seeing as much of that. So they've become much more sophisticated, and you have to be much more careful. And a lot of times these scammers, when it comes to these email scams, will also give you what is basically a spoofed phone number. And that's where they've basically created a phone number that comes up as Apple tech support or Microsoft tech support on your phone, but it's not. It's just a number that's connected to one of their spoofing programs. So if you get notification from, say, Microsoft or Norton software, and you think it could be legitimate, but you're not sure, you're going to want to hang up and find a legitimate number for them, not the one that the email provides you, but one go on Google or get it from somewhere else, one that you know is legitimate, and call the company and see if it's legitimate. And what you'll find out 99% of the time is that that's not true, because Norton doesn't just send out random emails, or Microsoft doesn't just send out random emails saying that your subscription that you don't even have is about to be renewed. But people panic because they think there's about to be a $500 charge on their credit card, when all they're really trying to do is get access to your computer. So.
Any other questions? Does anybody have any situations or scenarios that have happened to them that you want to share?
Can I have one more?
Yeah.
So there is one more I want to talk about. And I was talking with one of the detectives in our unit this morning. Apparently, it's not a thing up here, but I'm a retired deputy sheriff from Atlanta, and down there we had what we called the pine straw scam. And apparently, pine straw is not a thing up here, but down there in Georgia, people they'll use pine straw to decorate in their yards, like mounds around bushes and stuff like that. And so it's similar to what she was talking about with the home improvement stuff, where basically you would have these guys, a crew of 3 or 4 guys in a truck with a bunch of bales of pine straw in the back, and they would go around, and I think they would specifically try to look for homes with where it looks like it was just a single mother home, maybe an elderly person at home, and they would knock on the door and say, "Hey, we have some pine straw. It looks like you guys could use a freshening up there in your yard. We can go ahead and take care of that for you." And when the homeowner asks, "Well, how much is that going to be?" "Well, we don't really know until we finish." And then they'll throw a few bales of pine straw out in the yard, make it look nice, and then they'll come and knock on the door and say, "Oh, that'll be $800." And when if you're an elderly person or a single mom who's just home with her kids, and you have 3 guys standing at your door, glaring at you, saying you owe us $800, it can be very intimidating. And so what I would recommend to folks in that situation is, if you feel like that's where you are, just close the door and call 911 and have a patrol unit respond out there. Chances are those folks are as soon as you do that, they're going to leave very quickly. It's because, as Debbie was saying, legitimate companies don't go around knocking door to door trying to sell you something at a deal like that. Anybody who does that kind of stuff is going to be very suspicious. But I saw so many victims that got taken for $800, $1,000, because somebody threw a couple of bales of pine straw in their yard and then stood there glaring at them in the doorway, and they felt too intimidated to say no. I had one woman that it wasn't quite as much money. I think they charged her $350, and she wrote them a check.
Oh, they don't want checks.
And what they did is they left for about half an hour, came back, said, "Well, the bank said the check wouldn't go through. Can you give us another check?" And she did. And they ended up taking her for $700, because of course they had cashed the first check. And then they came back pretending like it hadn't gone through. So these guys are very devious and persistent. So if you're ever in a situation like that where you just feel uncomfortable, like maybe you're being taken, don't be afraid to call 911. If it's a legitimate company, they're going to be okay with it. They're going to have credentials, they're going to have their licenses, their card, all of that. So, a legitimate company still wants your money too. So if you're in a vulnerable situation and you feel like, hey, I just want to be sure this is real. Do you mind waiting until the police get here? If they're legit, they will. They're fine. But if they're not, and they won't be, because this is what they do, they'll get out of there as quick as they can. So.
And just on a final note, if you ever have any questions about something that's happened or a call that's been made or whatever, don't hesitate to call. You can call the police department. They'll probably switch you into the number for our unit, which is the financial crimes unit. But we'll be more than glad to come out and talk to you or look into whatever problems you might have. Okay? Thank you.